Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Mendte. A rise in COVID-19 cases in the state has prompted stricter restrictions. But with things expected to get worse before they get better, are we looking at another lockdown? And what would that do to New Jersey businesses? I asked that very question to Michele Siekerka, President and CEO of the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today. I really appreciate your time. What is the NJBIA's opinion, or what is a statement they may have on how Governor Murphy has done so far in handling the pandemic?
So from the healthcare side, early on, the governor, in his policies did a great job of crushing the curve. The challenge is all along that we were told that as the healthcare numbers would get more favorable, then the economic numbers should get more favorable. And so if you think of sliding scales, right, as the COVID numbers come down, the economic numbers should have gone up. But what happened was the numbers were coming down, we were starting to come up, and then it's like we got stuck here, and this kept happening, but we were still stuck down here. We're like, what's going on? We flattened the curve. Why are we holding back and letting business, open quicker than it did? So we feel that there was too long of a pause to get to the next phase of openings when our healthcare numbers were in our favor. And then what that does is puts us behind the eight ball right now, as we're seeing surge coming from social activity, not being contact traced back to business activity right now. And we're concerned about that. We've got a 28% less amount of small business in the state of New Jersey as of the end of October from January. We've lost 28% of small business in the state of New Jersey. Yes, that's a sobering statistic, Larry.
So has the problem you're talking about, has that been rectified at all? You said it took too long to reopen. So there was a reopening, and now there has been some restrictions put in place. How is the business community reacting to all of that?
Well, so let's be clear. There was a reopening, but that doesn't mean New Jersey's economy was fully open. Okay, everyone opened with restrictions. So, during the warm summer months, we lost some months of activity, especially our restaurants, who were held back from opening, the weekend before 4th of July till some weeks later. So, that was a hit to them. But when they opened, and all our retail and our Main Street businesses all opened with limited capacity. And so, they were delayed in the opening. They were open with limited capacity again at a time where our healthcare numbers were good. So now, right now, everyone is really fearful that you're going to take away the little bit that we have, when already these businesses right now on their limited capacity they're not turning a profit. Okay, what they're doing is they're making almost just enough money to cover their expenses. And that's just not a sustainable business model.
Is Governor Murphy listening to the business community?
So what I have said all along is he and his team are very responsive when we reach out, but we bring them and have brought them data and ideas and thoughts that we feel were not as best infused. We brought early on in this process the whole concept of approaching the reopening in a regional manner, because we had areas of the state were hot spots, and then we had areas of the state that were beyond flat and hardly had any cases at all. And we were told, no, a regional approach won't work. Well, right now, the governor's taking a regional approach as he's talking about, the research. So if regional approach is working now, why wouldn't it have worked, back at that time?
How do we make it through these next couple of months?
So the business community needs, they need financial support, which EDA I know is doing the best they can with the limited resources that they have. However, again, a little too little too late. We've had federal CARES Act money sitting on the sidelines, not being utilized now for 8 months. Okay, money right at the ready, sitting in our bank account that could have been freed up, that has to be spent by the end of the year. We could have freed up more of that money for the business community while it was available. First thing, more resources. Second thing is, some more technical assistance. Again, kudos to EDA, who stood up some technology platforms to help small business kind of pivot their business model, but more of that, more engagement. Third, and as important as resource, is what business does not need. They do not need more mandates placed on them. Throughout the same time, we have put more costs on business. We have required more and more and more of them at a time that they're already hanging on by a shoestring. So we ask the government, hey, take a big time out, take a pause. No more mandates on New Jersey businesses while they're just trying to catch their breath in order to just get to a point where maybe they can turn $1 a profit.
New Jersey legislators are taking notice now of all of the people who live in New Jersey and normally travel into New York, that they have to work virtually from home. They're taking notice because they'd like those tax dollars. They don't know why New York is taking tax dollars for people who are working in New Jersey. Does NJBIA have a position on that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, we lose at both ends of our border. Where it's so typical that New Jersey winds up in the middle of getting the least ROI on any type of interstate compact that we have. And so right now, absolutely, the rules before was you're taxed by where you work, and so New York workers who were in New York paid that New York tax and almost had to keep a calendar of when they were working outside the state. Well, give us the benefit now. We should benefit from that. The idea being that bedroom community. You think of all that we do to support the city. And look, I get it. It's a big hit to the city, and we have to have good relationships. But you know what? We're taking our own big hits right now. And we need every penny we can get here in the state of New Jersey.
What is the forecast for next year? Have you looked at it?
It's a chilling one. It's a chilling one. I tend to be the glass half full girl. I'm very optimistic. I'm super bullish on the state. The reality is we have things going on that are so beyond the control of so many that it's very hard to predict. But I will tell you what the business community is predicting, because we just did our business outlook survey, and they're concerned. They're concerned for their sustainability. They're concerned that they're concerned that government does not hear them when they say you can't put another dollar's worth of burden on me. You can't do things like changing the presumption in workers' comp to say that if someone has COVID, they contracted it at my place of business, even though they just vacationed to a hot spot. You have to give me liability protection when I'm checking every box to safeguard my workplace and people who frequent my facility that you told me I must do to be open. When I do that, I should get a buy, okay? Nobody has protection. The concern of frivolous lawsuits. The EO mandate right now on safeguards that businesses were already providing, the penalties that come along with that can be extraordinary. It can put a business out of business when they're trying their best to hold on. So I think the business community is feeling the burden of being in this pause mode for another 6 months and fearing their ability to sustain.
Do you see more businesses closing and or leaving New Jersey?
Oh, unfortunately, I do. Unfortunately, I do. Being a member organization, when I get letters from my members saying, thank you for the 25, 50, 100 years of service that BIA provided to us, but we're going out of business or we're leaving the state of New Jersey, Larry, I get those letters every week and it breaks my heart.
Well, like you and like everybody that's watching right now, I do hope things get better. I don't think it's going to happen for a few months. As always, I really appreciate your time.
Hey, Larry, thank you so much. And please, let's keep it on a positive that, look, New Jersey businesses are super resilient. We always tend to come back. We are fighters here in New Jersey. And at BIA, we're doing everything we can to enable those businesses so that we can save livelihoods each and every day.
Thank you. Michele Siekerka, President and CEO of NJBIA. When we come right back, protecting the most vulnerable as COVID cases continue to rise in New Jersey. That's next.